Pitcher Nail Down. I'm Jason Gilbo at JGilbo11, looking at tonight's pitching options on FanDuel and DraftKings. Going to run through game by game here, talk about each guy, use them quickly. We could be not using them, but we'll jump into it here. San Diego and Pittsburgh in PNC Park. Ivan Nova versus Travis Wood. I don't want either part of these guys. Ivan Nova, yeah, he's got everything kind of backed up. There's some rain in the area also, but Nova, he's on the cheaper side. Obviously coming off a start where he just played Pittsburgh. Just allowing too many base runners for me to consider on a full slate. Last slate, it was just more because it was a smaller one. We didn't have a lot of options, but this is one where I'm not really looking to use either side. Travis Wood, obviously not. So a good hard pass for this game in terms of pitching. Detroit, Baltimore, Justin Verlander, Kevin Gausman. I wouldn't be surprised to see either of these guys pitch well. I don't know if I'm going to be looking to use them on tonight's slate. I know Verlander's been pitching pretty well of late over his last few starts. Gausman's been a roller coaster. Really volatile piece. I know he's been pitching well, 8 strikeouts in each of his last 3 starts. I just don't think we need to go there. I feel like their price tags are a little bit up from what we should actually be considering them at in these matchups. So I'm going to be passing there. Yu Darvish, Jacob deGrom in this next one. Dodgers small favorites in Citi Field. Darvish obviously coming off of that shellacking against Miami. Hopefully he fixed it. Darvish is not a comfortable guy in this matchup. I mean, I know he pitched really well against the Mets last time out. This Mets team is just – they're a team that just doesn't strike out a ton. I mean, 19%, 35% hard contact rate against righties, 190 ISO against righties. They're 11th in WOBA. This is a pretty good offense. I like Darvish here. I like the price tag. I do think he can bounce back after that horrendous outing. He's getting a beneficial park shift to New York. Comes in as a small road favorite. I think the price is a little bit depreciated as well. 26.2% strikeout rates, 8% walk rate this year, 12% swing strike rate. It's the 4th highest on the slate. I like Darvish. He's a guy that I'll consider using tonight. Cash game guy, probably not for me. I'm going to be looking elsewhere in cash games, but GPPs, I like them. I like Jacob deGrom in tournaments as well. This is not an ideal matchup, but this is still a Dodgers team that, as good as they are, they still do strike out quite a bit. They're kind of like the Yankees, except more consistent, obviously. But, a lot of big bats, a lot of young bats that still do, tend to swing and miss. 22.5% strikeout rate against righties for the Dodgers, yes, but they're top 5 in WOBA and ISO. That's the problem. It's a tough lineup to get through, but deGrom's the guy with elite strikeout stuff. I mean, 13.7% swinging strike rate. That leads the slate. 28.5% strikeout rate. He's better at home. I like him. I think the price is up on him. Obviously, I think I was expecting a little bit cheaper on DraftKings. FanDuel is not bad. 10-5, 9-3 for Darvish isn't bad either. So I think deGrom, Darvish, more GPP plays for me tonight. I like going cheaper once again, so I think paying up is going to be my kind of contrarian move and focusing on locking in value bats for a more contrarian sense. But just because we have cores, just because we have some other offenses, I'll be kind of looking to pay down this mid-range because there's a couple of options. Just because a lot of these elite stars are not in ideal spots, so there's kind of more red flags to them than I'd like to pay in their price tags. But Darvish, deGrom, I think are great GPP options. You can argue Darvish in cash games, but I'm probably not going to go that route. So moving over to Boston and Chicago, Eduardo Rodriguez, Carlos Rodon. Rodon, no thanks on tonight's slate. He's obviously flashed some upside in his starts. 9 strikeouts in his last one, 11 strikeouts in the one before. He's the one guy who just walks too many guys here, still gives up a ton of base runners. This isn't an ideal ballpark. Red Sox were at around 5.5 runs. It's a team that's been kind of clicking of late with the additions of Eduardo Nunez and Rafael Devers. I'm just staying away. Rodriguez, on the other hand, I do have some interest in. 6th highest swinging strike rate on the slate, 26.3% strikeout rate. The walk rates, the home runs are still the issue here. This is a lineup where obviously I expected Porcello to get through. He did not. I do expect Eduardo Rodriguez to get through this. It's a lineup that, it could be missing Matt Davidson again. He's a notable right-handed bat with some power that could do some damage. Outside of that, though, I mean, there's still a ton of strikeout upside here. These are a lot of guys that just, are bad. This is just not a good lineup anymore. I think you can get through using Rodriguez as a cheap SP2. He's a tournament, guy in FanDuel only, but in terms of an SP2, should pick up the win here tonight. 6,900 is a really nice price tag if you're trying to get some Coors bats in. So I definitely don't mind Rodriguez. Milwaukee and Tampa, Jacob Faria versus Brandon Woodruff. I love Jacob Faria here. This is a spot where I'm looking to use him. I know they've added obviously a couple lefty bats up top. It's Sogard, Thames, and Shaw in the front four, but for the most part, it's going to be about 5 or 6 right-handers. Faria is a guy that misses a ton of bats. I mean, 23% strikeout rate, 11.9% swinging strike rate. Swinging strike rate's on par with guys like Darvish, Rodon, Rodriguez, near Peacock as well. This Brewers team, obviously, moving them into Tropicana, that's a kind of a downgrade for them going on the road. Still a team that strikes out, a hell of a lot, 25.4% against righties. Faria should be able to back up, even if he gives up a couple of runs with some strikeouts here. He's able to miss a lot of stuff. So overall, I mean, you look, Faria's kind of fallen off a little bit here over his last maybe couple of starts. He struggled against Oakland, struggled against New York a little bit, but the 8 strikeouts were a big plus. A lot of that has to do with the walks. So if the walks are under control, we should be okay. So I definitely like kind of going that route as a cheaper mid-range option. And I think he is playable in all formats for me. I think the strikeout, the win potential is there, and he'll be okay. So Jaime Garcia, Trevor Bauer, next one here, Cleveland and New York. I want 0 part of this game at all for pitching, so we can make that one easy. Next one here, feel the same way. We're going to just hit a stretch here where pitching is not in play. Atlanta, Miami, R.A. Dickey, Adam Conley. No thanks to either of these guys. Texas Rangers, Minnesota Twins, Bartolo Colon, Martin Perez, 2 totals over 5 in a good ballpark. No thanks. Houston, Toronto, Cesar Valdez, Brad Peacock. No thanks to Valdez. Peacock, I have some small interest in GPPs. He's got the 3rd highest swinging strike rate on the slate. He's got a 32.1% strikeout rate. He does walk a ton of guys. This is a Blue Jays team that really is boom or bust against righties. They're 22nd WOBA against them. Strikeout rate right around 20.5%. He's probably going to face a lineup with, for the most part, all right-handed bats outside the first baseman there in Morales and Smoke. So that's kind of one thing to note with him. Peacock's been a little bit reversed this year, but has flashed some upside. He's another GPP guy. Hasn't quite shown it of late. Hasn't gone deep into the games, but we've seen him post some big strikeout games before. So nothing more than the GPP play there. Next one here, Seattle, Kansas City, Jason Hamill, James Paxton. Paxton's been on a phenomenal run. This is a guy I don't mind in all formats. I know Kansas City's heating up, but get a good ballpark here. Paxton's faced some really good offenses. The Mets, the Red Sox, the Astros, and kind of has dominated. I mean, 9, 7, 10, 8 strikeouts over his last 5 starts. He's only walked 4 batters. He's allowed less than 6 hits in all of them. He's allowed 3 earned runs in that span total. Like I said, Paxton's just been a dominant guy this year. Royals against lefties, they've been pretty pathetic for the most part. They don't strike out a ton, but I said that against the Red Sox, and Paxton kind of showed me up. So, I think with his swinging strike rate, I'm not really completely worried about it. It's the 2nd highest on the slate, 13%. 28.7% strikeout rate. Once again, doesn't walk a lot of guys. 45% ground ball rate. That's a good number for a guy who's lefty and who's missing a ton of bats. So coming on as a pretty big favorite, Kansas City with a run total under 4. Paxton's a guy I don't mind paying for in cash games and GPPs tonight. I think you can look that way. So on the other side, Jason Hamill, no reason to use him on the slates. Next one here, we got Vince Velasquez, Kyle Freeland. No thanks to either of these guys in Coors. Oakland, Los Angeles, Troy Scribner versus Jarrell Cotton. I just don't like either of these guys. I don't think there's any real upside in this game for either of these 2 pitchers. Next one here, you got Anthony Banda versus Madison Bumgarner. Banda's a guy who wasn't bad his last time out against Washington. Threw into the 6th inning, did allow 7 base runners and a home run. Big ballpark here. He's cheap. I don't know if I'm going to be quite going to him. Against the slant that just doesn't strike out a lot. I think you can fade, but there's a spot for Banda probably in the future. Bumgarner, on the other hand, this guy, finally shown some flash of old form in his last start against Los Angeles. He's on the cheaper side here. Obviously, the addition of JD Martinez, some of these guys are going to pick up against lefties at some point, but Arizona, 26th in the WOBA against lefties this year, 26% strikeout rate. They're moving into one of the toughest ballparks to hit in. So I don't mind Bumgarner. He's on the cheaper side. I don't mind him in cash games. I don't mind him in GPPs. So I think him and Paxton are kind of my GPP guys, kind of my cash game expensive options if you're going that route. and DeGrom, Darvish are more of those GPP picks at the top range because I do like Faria. I do like Eduardo Rodriguez as kind of the cheaper mid-range options to go with, cash or GPP, and I kind of feel pretty good about it. Peacock's that GPP guy as well. So for the most part, I think the mid-range is where I like kind of going cheap tonight. I think Faria is going to be a pretty big staple to my lineup, and I'm going to be using him a fair amount, and kind of mixing and matching those top guys. So in terms of strikeout rate on the board tonight, there are some decent options to go with, but I think a best points per dollar play in terms of strikeout wise is going to be Faria, and that's just my take. So that's going to wrap it up. You can head over to DaveFantasyCafe.com, check out our tools and content.